Hi, it's November 6th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Well, the election's over, and by any means, it has to be a huge win for Donald Trump and Republicans. On Monday, I listed the reasons I thought Trump would win, and they proved to be the key ones. He talked to the voting public about issues they cared about: the economy, immigration, inflation, and crime. He closed with Reagan's famous line, "Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago?" People listened, and most the answer was a resounding no. Harris closed with what they felt was their path to victory by trying to demonize Trump, calling him a Nazi, calling him a fascist, calling his supporters terrible names, and make people afraid to vote for him. She offered no real solution for the problems in the nation, and she was part of what created them. When asked about her economic agenda, she would refer them to her webpage. I think people began to realize she did not know what was on that webpage, so they had to go read it, what her campaign had written for her. Abortion became a rallying cry for Harris and her team. They strongly believed that this single issue would get women to vote for her in record numbers, and completely ignored that women understand that inflation has eroded their buying power, that groceries cost more than 20% than they did 4 years ago. And in the end, exit polling showed it was not the issue that would force women to vote on, even those that cared about it, and suburban women tilted toward Donald Trump. Where Trump made the most gains was with minority groups. He doubled his support in the African American community and even exceeded that with the Hispanic community. Democrats have long felt that those two voting blocs would automatically be in their column and ignore the fact that they felt the same issues that other blocs understood were hurting them. I think many black men felt insulted when Barack Obama and his wife Michelle began lecturing them and telling them they'd be held accountable if they did not get out and vote and support Kamala Harris. Well, once again, Democrats relied on the blue wall in the Midwest to deliver a victory for them. But just as in 2016, Donald Trump crumbled that wall and turned it red. Trump won in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Democrats failed to understand that these are the working people of this nation, and Trump was speaking more to them, while Democrats and Kamala Harris were speaking to the white liberal elites in the urban centers. I think the handwriting was on the wall early last night when Georgia and North Carolina were called for Trump. The Harris campaign had to realize then that her path to victory was a razor-thin margin, and once Pennsylvania went in the Trump column, the race was basically over. I found it kind of ironic that Fox News called the race for Trump to win, while MSNBC, CNN, CBS, and the other networks were hesitant. They tried to stall it out and wait. Finally, they had to make the call. And I was disappointed once again that the losing candidate did not come down and speak to her supporters. This is the same thing Hillary Clinton did in 2016. At this point in time, she had not made the all-important phone call to Trump and will address us later this afternoon, speaking of Harris. Hopefully, she will be prepared to concede at that point. It's over. On Tuesday, I said the Senate races were just as important as the presidential race, and Republicans came out strong. The win in West Virginia and Montana was expected and would give them the majority once it was called for Ted Cruz in Texas. He survived another challenge. But then Bernie Moreno ousted three-term Senator Sherrod Brown. It also looks like Dave McCormick will show Bob Casey the door in Pennsylvania. The Senate races in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada are still too close to call, but even if Democrats hold them, they're going to be in the minority. Democrats will now begin the finger pointing, and some have already pointed the finger at Tim Walz as the weak link in the campaign. They're suggesting that Josh Shapiro would have been the better choice for vice president. I actually think he would have been, but I don't think with the magnitude of the Trump win, he could have stemmed the tide. What the public campaign clearly signaled was the American public is tired of identity politics and tired of the woke agenda that the progressives of the Democratic Party have tried to jam down our throats. We have already seen corporations abandoning any DEI initiatives they had, and it's time for the federal government to get off that bandwagon as well. Merit and skill should always have more cachet than the color of somebody's skin, their gender, or sexual identity. It was clearly a turn to the right in American politics. It's now up to the Republicans to show they can effectively govern and deliver for the people that elected them. There are many things they can do, but they have to realize that Americans are concerned about the national debt, and they must do things to address it and do them quickly. One thing I think will happen is Donald Trump will get rid of the many onerous regulations the Biden administration placed on the energy sector. This should help bring down the cost of energy in this country, and once you do that, every company benefits because they all use energy in some form. And one last thing. I'm so tired of hearing liberals and celebrities say they're leaving the country if their candidates don't win. Hey, get in line and get on the plane. They don't seem to get it that the public's not listening to them. Last night, MSNBC commentator Joy Reid, who talks only about race, launched a tirade about the voters in Florida voting for Trump, slamming them and describing the state as being under the power of extremist right-wing fascist-type government. This is the problem with Democrats and their pals in the liberal media. They don't see the problem as them, it's its people. I hope they keep ignoring the facts because they will simply keep on losing and in the end will be out of power. It's been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.